Before this video starts, I put timestamps in the description if you want to skip to a certain part. Now enjoy the video. Today I will be predicting the story for the new Legends of Arceus game. I will be predicting story, gameplay, traveling, battling, everything that I can think of. If you enjoy, please subscribe, and now let's go. So the story begins in the village that you saw in the trailer. You hear people talking about weird things happening all around them, and you wonder what is going on until you find a letter. And the letter tells you to go to a small house outside the village. In the house you find another letter which tells you that the weird things happening are caused by Giratina, the legendary Pokémon. He is trying to escape from his world, from his reality, and that is what causing weird things happening. So you have to stop him. And in order to stop him, you need to find Arceus, the god of all Pokémon. And he tells you that to find Arceus, you will need to build a strong team, because finding Arceus is not easy. And that is why he lets you choose a starter to help build your strong team. And then the real story begins. You have to go into the world and do side quests and puzzles and do lots of battles with wild Pokemon in order to build a really strong team. And now there is multiple possibilities for the end, because I'm not sure yet if you will be able to catch Arceus. I think they might do it because everyone wants it, but it doesn't make sense Pokemon wise. But personally, I hope they will, because having Arceus on your team would be one of the coolest things ever. And maybe even Giratina, I don't know. That's why I will now tell you my ideas for the possible ending. Then it's time to summon Arceus, and I'm not sure how this will happen, but I think you might have to do a battle or activate something, and then Arceus will appear. Ending 1 is where you just immediately catch Arceus after summoning him, and then you will have a big Pokemon battle with Giratina. And after this, there's also two possibilities. There's the possibility that you will catch Giratina as well, and then you have a huge team with two big legendaries. Or there's the possibility that Giratina will go back into the Distortion world. Then there's also the possibility that it will be just one big cutscene where you watch Arceus and Giratina fight until Arceus wins and Giratina will go back into the Distortion world. But I think that ending is not going to happen, because then you would not be able to catch any of the legendaries and people would not be very happy with that. Then there are of course more possibilities, so if you have an idea for a different ending to my prediction, please put it down in the comments. I would love to see your guesses. And after the story, I think the only thing that is left to do is completing the first Sinnoh Pokédex. And after that, I'm not sure what you can do. Maybe there's some more after story game. Maybe you just walk around the world until you find every Pokemon shiny. I don't know. We'll have to wait until the game comes out for that one. So at the start of the game, you're probably just going to walk everywhere, but as you progress, you might want to go everywhere a little faster. And that is why I think that they will still have fly, surf, and even some new methods in there. Because in some lakes you saw gliding and mountain climbing, but I don't know enough about that to really tell you how that will work, but that will be a method. In order to fly or surf, you either need specific Pokemon or you need TMs, and because it's very early in the Pokemon timeline, TMs have not been invented yet. So I think they will have some kind of enchantment books, which then will be able to learn your Pokemon new moves. And to get these enchantment books, you will either find them in the world or you will have to do side quests for them. This also works for special attacks and healing things that your Pokemon can learn. So let's say for example you need one of your Pokemon to learn fly. And then you go to a random village and there's an old man who tells you that he had fly, but he hid it in a mountain. And then you just go to the mountain and you find a book with fly, which you can then learn your Pokemon. or someone tells you they have a certain TM and you just have to catch a certain Pokemon for them and then they will give it to you, or you will just find it somewhere in the wild. And obviously, because it's a long time ago, Poké Centers and potions were not invented yet. So instead of Poké Centers, you will probably have like a hotel or a daycare where you can rest and your Pokemon can rest and then they will have full HP again. And instead of potions, you will probably just use berries. And at these Poké hotels, you can probably have all of your catched Pokemon, because there's no PC to store them either. In this part, I will explain how I think the battling and catching of the Pokemon will go. It was shown pretty good in the trailer already, but I will give a real explanation for how it will exactly work. So let's say you see a Pokemon that you want to catch, then there's two possibilities. You can run up to it and go into a battle, or you can sneak up to it and throw the Pokeball. If it jumps out the Pokeball, it will try to attack you, and if it doesn't jump out, then you have it. And if it tries to attack you, you can just actually run away with dodging his attacks and things. But you can also try and battle him and get him weak enough so that you can actually catch him. And the nice thing is that you don't have a cutscene in between, you just immediately get into battle and can attack them. So that's very nice. And for the catching part, I think there might be some status moves and berries that can make it easier to catch them, but there's only one type of Pokeball, so that is going to be quite hard, but luckily there's not a lot of legendaries in this game. After you finish the storyline, you obviously don't just want to quit the game, so there is going to be some post-game stories and things, but I am not quite sure yet, so I will think of a couple of things that could be there, but I'm not sure about this one. So you do have to complete the first ever Sinnoh Pokédex, and the way this works is that I think instead of a machine you will just write it down in some kind of notebook, and when you finished it you have to bring it to your professor and you hopefully get a very cool thing. But that is going to be one part of the post game, and maybe some small story involving Arceus. I don't know about that, that's really hard to predict. There could be some outfits or gear that you can unlock, but there's not a lot that's going to be after you finish this story. The last thing that I will be covering are the rumors about Cyrus and Team Galactic, because there was some weird badge on the arm that really looked like it. So I will tell you about my opinion on that. So because the game is playing like very long before Cyrus was even born, I don't think the badge has a lot to do with it, even though it looks very similar. But if it does, I had one theory for that. And this theory has to do with Cyrus's death in the anime, because in the anime he died by Palkia and Dialga in some different universe. But if this theory is true, then he didn't die, but he went through the distortion world back in time in order to then capture Arceus, and you might be with him or have to save Arceus from him. And that could be a possibility, but I don't think that is going to happen. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. I would really love that. I put way too many work into this video and I hope you enjoyed it. I will probably maybe making more predictions and these type of videos in the future, so subscribe if you want to see more from that. Goodbye.